All right, so I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the sun study. So the first thing you really want to do is, I mean, you get all your materials set up. We kind of talked about that in the last one. So, um, and get all that ready to go. And then you're going to want to click on this little movie thing right here. So if you click on that, it actually starts with a blank screen, which is a little confusing. But what you really want to do is record an animation. And so you just click on this record here. And then what you want to do is kind of get into the view that you want to be in for this animation. So if I want to do a sun study and I want to sort of see maybe what's going on inside the inside there, then maybe I'm kind of above and I want to see how the sun comes through this center piece. And so once you kind of get that set up, you're good to go. Make sure that you set the length of it. I would set it maybe 4 seconds. I mean, 6 is a little long. You could say if you were going to fade in and out, you would have 2 seconds on one end, 2 seconds on the other end, and 2 seconds in the middle. So if you wanted to, you could come in and make this guy 6 seconds long. And then what you're going to do is you're going to set a keyframe. So it's going to say this is going to be the beginning, right? So if I click add camera keyframe right here, it saves that setting, right? So it's like, okay, we're saved there. And then in order to go back and actually set up the sun and moving the sun through this animation, we have to hit this check button here to go back to movie mode. So it's going to save the clip and go back to movie mode. And you'll see we'll get back into this movie mode where we can add effects, which is how we're going to change the sun. Let's go back to build. I'd rather not have that green background in there. So let's go ahead and set this landscape up to white, right? So I'll set it to white. And then I'll go back to my movie, right? And so I'll be back in my movie with my white background. And then once you get back here, you can add the effect, which is going to be the sun study. So if you come in and add an effect, you can pick the sun, right? And the sun comes in and you get this little keyframe here. And then you also have your 6 seconds here that you've added. So here's your sunset heading, right? So you could sort of start with it here, or you could start with it on either side. So I'll start with my sun heading all the way over there. And once I hit this, it's going to save it right here at 0 seconds. It's going to save that location. So if I create a keyframe, you'll see it adds that little white dot. And then I can move this slider to 6 seconds, right? And you'll notice when I move it to 6 seconds, the sun heading, I can no longer change it, right? In order to change it, I have to create a new keyframe. So once I create a new keyframe, I can now change my sun heading to the other side, and it'll add a keyframe there, and it'll do the tweens. So now if I hit play, it'll start and run that sun study, right? And so once you get the sun study set up, right, you could actually come in and if you wanted to actually change the location of how you're looking at this thing. So if I came in and went back to my clip, or actually let's just render the clip right now. So maybe stay out of the weeds for a minute, but let's just go ahead and render the movie. So once you're done, let's go ahead and render that. And you can see it'll come in and you want to render it at 30 frames per second. You can change the output quality, right? There are other tabs like image sequence, right? And current frame. But really, I would say maybe the third star, 30 frames per second. And full HD, 1920 by 1080. So click on that guy, right? And then it will want to save it. So I'll save this as final video over that one and say yes. And it will now render this out, right? So it's going to go through and render that guy out. I'll pause it while it's doing that. It's probably going to take a couple of minutes, but you can see it's doing 181 frames. All right, so it's done, and I'm going to come in here and open up the folder that has that in there. And so if I run and play that video, oops, it's on my other screen, but right, so if I play that video, there it is. Right, so you've got an MP4, and that's kind of the quality of what it looks like. It's not bad, right? So that's the process for that.